All right. If you are stuck on ChatGPT and maybe you're not getting the most out of it, this is a great show for you. I'm going to share 5 simple ChatGPT hacks to make it easier to use. Welcome. My name is Jordan Wilson. This is Everyday AI, your daily live stream, podcast, and free daily newsletter, helping everyday people like me and you make better sense of AI and how we can make it grow our company and grow our career. So, if you're interested in knowing how to better use ChatGPT, this is a great episode for you. So, whether you are a beginner or you've been using ChatGPT just about every day like me, I think that you're going to find some value in today's episode. So, first of all, thank you to everyone joining us live. This is a live stream. So, if you are joining us on the podcast, make sure to check your show notes. Join us on the live stream in the future. It's a lot of fun. So, everyone joining us live. So, Dr. Rasafa joining us. Thank you. Douglas, good morning. Thank you, Brian Kennedy, joining us. Trevor. All right. So, we've got a lot of people here joining us live. Thank you, as always, for learning together. That's what this is all about. But let's first, before we get into all this ChatGPT, and I think some ways that you all will really like, let's first talk about the AI news. It's something that we do every single day. So first, Meta has released its Llama 2 long AI model. So the Llama 2 model's been out for a while, but Meta kind of stealthily over the weekend released its long AI model. So Meta Platforms designed this new AI long model is designed to handle longer text sequences, and it outperforms some leading AI models. And this model is based on the open source Llama 2, but it has undergone continual training with longer training sequences. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. And yes, some of y'all have asked, and I will do a dedicated llama episode here in the future. It's kind of fun to say that, right? A llama episode. All right. Next piece of news. So celebrity AI fakes are on the rise. This kind of 2 different stories that came out right one after another. So the first one, Zelda Williams, the daughter of the late Robin Williams, recently expressed her disapproval of AI recreations of her late father's voice. But another one that just happened less than a day ago, Tom Hanks is now warning fans about a promotional video for a dental plan featuring an AI version of himself. And obviously, he had nothing to do with it. So, especially here in the US, as the 2024 election cycle is going to start to heat up. This is going to be something that we're going to see a lot more of, is just kind of these AI fakes and what the US is going to do about it, if anything. All right. Some big news. It's speculative, but I think it's worth bringing up today. So, is Apple building a generative AI search engine? So, a recent report from Bloomberg looks at what Apple may be doing under the scenes, and kind of some of the rumors are suggesting that it may be releasing a search engine to go up against Google and other search giants. So, reportedly, Apple is working to integrate its internally named Pegasus search engine into iOS and Mac OS, and may use some AI tools to enhance it. So, very interesting news happening over the weekend in the world of generative AI, and it's something that we do every single day. So people always ask, "Hey, Jordan, when is this everyday AI show? When do you do it?" It's every day. There's always so much happening. There's always so many new developments happening in the world of generative AI. So we do this every single weekday. We go live Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So thank you everyone for joining. What a great crew. I'm excited to go over this today. I hope you are too. Dr. Harvey, thank you for joining. He says, like Apple Maps, Apple search, smart idea. Yeah, we'll see. There's been plenty of different stories that show just how much Apple has to pay. Essentially, different. I think right now they're paying Google to use the default search on Safari. So it's definitely a future move, but it's also a move that, in theory, would help them pocket hundreds of millions of dollars. There might even be more than that. All right, but that's not what you came here to listen to. You came here to listen to 5 simple ChatGPT hacks to make ChatGPT easier to use. So let's dive right into it. And please, if you are joining, maybe you have a hack. Maybe share your favorite too. Maybe I'll pick a couple at the end and shout them out here on the show. All right, so my Chat GPT hack number 1 is to default to plugins mode. Okay. So when you use Chat GPT, it used to always go to default mode. It doesn't do that anymore. But I encourage people not only to use the plugins mode by default, but also I have a little URL on the screen here, and I'll share this in the show notes. Don't worry. But you can also grab, and a lot of people don't know this, but there is this URL here. It's just /model equals GPT -4 plugins, right? You can actually just save that as a bookmark and launch ChatGPT in plugins mode. And you might be asking, and I'll try not to go on a long rant like, okay, why plugins mode? Why anything else, right? Or why not anything else? So it's also worth noting that in order to access plugins mode, you obviously have to have the $20 a month ChatGPT Plus subscription. I very highly encourage people, go find this out for yourself. And I actually just had a show about this last week, but ChatGPT and OpenAI, the parent company, just re-released Browse with Bing after they had to pull it for a couple of months due to some copyright complaints and some lawsuits. So they just did reintroduce this. So a lot of people are trying to flock back to Browse with Bing. I did an entire show on why you probably shouldn't do that, but I always encourage people to use plugins mode by default. Don't use the default mode. That has access to nothing. There is the Browse with Bing mode that allows you to essentially query Bing. There is advanced data analysis mode, which is exactly what it sounds like, an advanced data analysis mode. And then there's plugins mode. I tell people always, always, always use plugins, right? I've consulted now hundreds of people, individuals, companies on ChatGPT, and this is always what I tell people is start in plugins mode. All right, next, and this is very much related, swap out Google search. All right. And this is something actually had Mark DeGrasse, the president of Digital Marketer, on the Everyday AI show a couple months ago. And this is one of his suggestions as well. I've been telling people this for many months, but this is one of his suggestions as well, is the future of the internet, right, is generative AI. And it's the same thing with search engines, right? So we talked about at the top of the show that Apple is working on a search engine competitor to Google and others, but they are trying to infuse AI. So even Google, right? If you've used Google search recently, you've probably seen the new what's called SGE, which is the search generative experience, right? So I'd say if you are still using the traditional Google search or Yahoo search or Bing or I don't know, does Ask Jeeves still even exist? I'm actually curious now. That's one of the first search engines I used. Let's see, does Jack? Yeah. Okay. Now it's just ask.com apparently, but swap out if you are using a traditional non-generative AI search, swap it out, right? You can use, sure, SGE. from Google, their generative search you can use. Bing kind of has Microsoft Bing kind of has a smarter, AI search that seamlessly integrates into their Bing chat. I recommend plugins, right? There's so much that you can do in the plugins mode inside ChatGPT. And probably one of the best ways to learn how to use it is to go ahead and swap out your Google search, right? Yeah. Dr. Castro is saying, I love plugins. This is my default. Same. Uh, Peter, thank you for joining us. Peter saying it's the only way you can do it in ChatGPT. Absolutely. Absolutely. And as a reminder, if you are joining live, thank you. But go ahead, put in what is your one biggest chat GPT hack. If we have some good ones, I'll share one or two at the end. All right, so let's keep going here. Our third one is to always use an internet connected plugin. Okay. Why? Right? Something that's very important to keep in mind with chat GPT is the knowledge cutoff date. It is September 2021. Okay. Uh, and if you are using any large language model, it's always important to know what the cutoff date is, right? So, any models that use the GPT technology, which is from OpenAI, has a knowledge cutoff of September 2021. If you're using Bard, I believe it's a little later. Same thing with Cloud, but still, if we're talking just ChatGPT right now, you should always be connected to the internet, which is another reason. If you're only using the free version of ChatGPT, I like to tell people then you're not really using it. You're not. So that's important to keep in mind. Always use an internet connected plugin. Talked about this on the show. We've gone over some of our favorite plugins for business use cases, but two that our team really finds a lot of use of, and we use them a lot, is Browser Op plugin and the Vox Script plugin. So talked about this before, but we're dorks. Anytime we give you advice, it's not just on a whim. We've actually tested more than 20 internet connected plugins across 4 major functions. We took dated screenshots so people can see the results of what works and what doesn't, because not all internet connected plugins inside ChatGPT are created the same. And if you are very new, I should probably explain it. If you are very new to ChatGPT, and maybe this episode title caught your eye and you're like, okay, I could use some ChatGPT hacks. Plugins, again, you have to be on the ChatGPT Plus mode, but you can only have 3 plugins enabled at any time, which is why we teach plugin packs in our free Prime Prompt Polish course. So if you want access to that, just in this chat, just go ahead and type in PPP. We do these free trainings twice a week. There's no upsell at the end either. So we always teach people to always use an internet connected plugin. You have 3 kind of slots whenever you start a new chat inside ChatGPT plugins, and one of those should always be an internet connected plugin, so you can cut down on the likelihood of getting those hallucinations, of making sure that this large language model, OpenAI's GPT-4, does not lie, does not hallucinate. And that's one of the best ways. All right. Number 4, use custom instructions. I'm smiling on this one if you're not, joining us live, if you're listening on the podcast. So I say this, I have to take myself out of the equation a lot. And what I'm saying here is use custom instructions if you have limited use cases, because I actually did. Yes, I did a video last week on the reasons why you probably shouldn't use custom instructions. So this is a big asterisk. So only use custom instructions if you have limited use cases. And here's why, but I still do recommend it, again, if you have limited use cases in ChatGPT, right? I do not. Our team uses ChatGPT for many different things, right? We use it for our own internal purposes. We use it, for Accelerant Agency. That is the small, the digital strategy company that I own based here in Chicago. So we're using it for Accelerant Agency. We're using it for everyday AI. We're using it to test different things. So here's essentially very short version of what custom instructions are and why they are a hack if you have very limited use cases of ChatGPT. So custom instructions are essentially that, right? With ChatGPT, their naming of different features and modes are very self-explanatory. But every time you start a new chat, if you have custom instructions enabled, you can essentially give ChatGPT a list of steps or a list of facts. If you want it to kind of respond to you more in your voice, if you always want to say, hey, do A, B, and C before ever responding, uh, it is a shortcut and a hack for many, not for us, but something to keep in mind. It can save you a whole lot of back and forth with ChatGPT, so you can give it access. Let's say if we're talking limited use cases, let's say you are only using it, for your job and it's one position, you're just working, let's say in the marketing department of a Fortune 500 company, whatever that may be, right? Um, and instead of having to go back and forth all the time and say, nope, this is our brand voice. Nope, these are the campaigns that we're working on. And again, I always have to shout this out. Make sure to never upload confidential or sensitive information into ChatGPT or any other large language model, because all large language models use that to train their models. But custom instructions can essentially save you time from going back and forth and trying to get a new chat or a current chat to kind of get up to speed. So it's instead of training an employee from scratch, which is what we teach people to do. If you're only working in one major area inside ChatGPT, it just saves you time. But again, what's important to know is when you start, if you have custom instructions enabled, and you start a new chat, they are on by default. So if you do want to go into a different work project, or maybe you want to use it for, your personal life to plan out, your meals for the week or whatever. If you have custom instructions enabled and you go to start a new chat and, you just dive in there and you start, you're going to have to start over and turn custom instructions off, because you can't toggle it on and off at the chat level, which, hey, if anyone ever from OpenAI is listening to this, please give that as an option, because then we can use custom instructions across the board. But it's important right now is if you have that enabled, every single new chat that you make with it enabled, it will be stuck there and you can't undo it, right? So it's important to keep in mind, but it is a good hack if you have very limited use cases. All right, number 5, last but not least, give ADA access to the internet. All right, so advanced data analysis. Actually dropped this one into our also free Prime Prompt Polish Pro course. And people seem to like it. So I figured I'll just share this one little tip. Won't go through it kind of step by step, but also, and I believe someone in here in the comments mentioned this, mentioned a couple different sorry, we have our Canva wasn't working today, so I have on presentation mode. So someone in the comments mentioned different Chrome extensions that you can use inside ChatGPT. So that's another conversation for another day. But inside advanced data analysis, it is a mode inside ChatGPT that, again, does really, like it says, but it is great at data visualization. It is great at coding, right? If you're working a lot in programming languages, advanced data analysis is better than other modes when you are doing heavy data lifting, when you're doing heavy development mode, coding, whatever it may be. But the downside, again, even when you are in those modes, you are working with a September 2021 knowledge cutoff. So even best, there are even best practices. If you are using it for web development, something like that, there's best practices, obviously, that have changed drastically in the last 2 years since that knowledge cutoff. So you can actually give advanced data analysis access to the internet by using a Chrome extension. You can use one called WebGPT. There's a couple of others, but and kind of go over a couple use cases of this in our pro PPP course. Again, it's for free. So if you want access, just shout it out, PPP. I'll send it to you. But advanced data analysis is such I think it has great potential. The reason why I don't use it too much more is because anytime you're in that mode, as an example, you can't use plugins, right? I would love if you could use plugins inside any mode. So whether you use the default mode, the browse with Bing, the plugins, or the advanced data analysis, those are the 4 different modes inside of ChatGPT Plus. But you can only use plugins inside, obviously, the plugins mode. So that's why I don't use ADA a whole lot, the advanced data analysis mode a whole lot, because it needs access to the internet to make sure you're not getting hallucinations, to make sure, even if you're talking, coding and development, changes happen, and you need to let your chat inside ChatGPT, inside advanced data analysis know. And that is one kind of little hack that we shared in our pro training of a way that you can do that. All right. So what was your favorite? What was your favorite simple hack? And again, I wanted to have a show where we could talk about the basics, right? But hopefully where some of y'all can still, if you are, heavy users of ChatGPT, that you could still find value in this episode. So I'm going to take a couple questions. And again, if you have a favorite ChatGPT hack, let me know. Jay Paluzzi, sorry if I got the last name wrong there, Jay, but asking if the group has a top 5 list for plugins. Jay, check the show notes after the show. I'll leave a link to an episode where I went over some of the best. But yeah, definitely VoxScript and Browser Op are two of the ones that we almost always use inside plugins mode. Woozy, great. He says the most random plugin I use is Photorealistic. Gives you a prompt to copy and paste from Midjourney images. That's a fantastic one as well. There, Woozy. I really do like that one as well. Let's see. I want to make sure if anyone left their one great hack, the best internet connected plugin. Again, it depends on what you need it for, because with internet connected plugins, without going too deep, there's really 4 big things you want to look for. You want to look for the ability to query the internet or ask the internet something. You want to be able to visit a specific web page. You want to be able to read a PDF, and hey, icing on the cake, if you can also summarize YouTube videos. So there's 4 different kind of main elements, and no one plugin, at least now. I do know we have an everydayer, Peter, I think working on such plugin. But yeah, right now there is no plugin that does all 4, but VoxScript and Browser Op do 3 of the 4 each, just different ones. So, all right, let's see. Here we go. Dr. Harvey Castro has a hack. Thanks for sharing. So he says mix and match. He says use the output from ChatGPT plugin, and then he takes that and uses it in Cloud AI. So Cloud is another, if you are new, Cloud 2 is a large language model from Anthropic. So he uses that to get more tokens. This way, Cloud is primed by ChatGPT, and he then puts it to use bigger tokens from Cloud. Yes, that's a great, and even when we talk about, some of these hacks, a couple of them are to avoid hallucinations. So it is important to know that, ChatGPT does have a much more limited, at least right now, token output, which is essentially memory, right? So large language models, after certain points in time, they will start to lose their memory. Also, if anyone working in AI is listening, please start building these in to large language models, right? Like get token counters. It's going to help the average everyday user so much, if they're working in ChatGPT or anything else, and they get a warning, right? Like, hey, the initial conversations, the initial inputs that you first put in, our large language model is starting to forget that information. It is one of the, for newbies using large language models, it is one of the most important things to keep in mind, that, some of that information that you put in the beginning and you're having these conversations, whether it's, the 8K tokens, which is about 6,400 words inside of Chat GPT's GPT-4. It's 32,000 tokens if you're using the API or the playground. But at a certain point, ChatGPT and other large language models are going to start to lose the context, lose the memory, and to start to hallucinate a little bit more. All right, Dr. Asafat, thank you. You said uh, if you have not done the PPP course yet, what are you waiting for? I agree. Thank you for that. All right, I don't see any other I don't see any other hacks here in the comments, but some people sharing. Jackie saying SEO plugins are great for keyword research. Absolutely. So yes, and I did share this one. So it looks like some people are sharing this as a hack, but I did do a AI in 5. So every single day, we also put this in a newsletter. So if you are new and just listening on the podcast, I did do a little AI in 5, which is a 5-minute recap on a token counter Chrome extension last week. So make sure to go to check that out. All right. Speaking uh, of that newsletter, check it out if you haven't already. All right. So please go to youreverydayai.com. Sign up for the free daily newsletter. There's actually paid newsletters out there. We keep ours free. And every single day, most days on the show, we bring on an expert or even just an everyday person and talk about some really unique use cases of how they're using generative AI. So every single day, we break down the conversation for the day, add in other great insights, tips. We cover the AI news. And we do a lot of other things. Yeah, like the AI in 5, which Douglas knows. He says the AI in 5 is more like 8 to 10 minutes sometimes. Absolutely, it is. All right. So thank you for joining. I hope you learned one or two new little hacks that can help you use ChatGPT a little bit better. As a reminder, we're going to go over them very quick here. Default to plugins mode, number 1. Number 2, swap out Google search. Number 3, always use an internet connected plugin. Number 4, use custom instructions if you have a limited use case. And 5, give the advanced data analysis mode access to the internet. And hey, I'll throw in number 6. Go sign up for that daily newsletter. All right. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate everyone's input, whether you're listening on the podcast, the live stream. We appreciate you. Hit us up. We always like to hear from you. And I hope to see you back tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.